Welcome everybody to Let's Talk About It. I am your host. Well, I'm not used to starting it off. I'm used to Will starting it off, but this time I get to start it off. I'll be a hostess with the mostest. It's Terrell Simmons in the building. And I don't know if it's to the left, right of me. I'm gonna start with Mike. I'm gonna let you go ahead and kick us off and give us your
Yo, what
intro.
up, though? What up, though? What up, though? It's Mike, the money guy here, CEO of Decade Financial Solutions, your one-stop shop for all things credit and money related. As always, gentlemen, it's always good to see you lovely faces on a Tuesday night.
And then we go over to Mr. Clinton.
Yes, sir. This is Clinton James, your local real estate broker here in San Diego, as usual. Often imitated, never duplicated. But if y'all need any advice, anything to do with real estate in San Diego, if it's the right time to buy, sell, or invest, give me a call. Clinton James, you can meet me, reach me at Trini Living 619 on IG.
And last but not least, William, do we got the mic ready? Are we ready to roll? He got his LeBron James beard going on today. He's looking real serious. William's been having some technical difficulties, but we're going to have him jump in. And once again, I'm Terrell Simmons. I'm your local business and career strategist, helping you build the career you love, and so that you can do what you love and love what you do. You at work 80% of the time. Might as well do something that you love. And with us today, we got a special guest in the building. It's Mr. Berny Dohrmann. And let me give you a brief background on this gentleman right here. I just got introduced to him by my good friend, Michael. He's the founder of CEOspace International. More than 25 years ago, he started this business. And he's embraced his vision for entrepreneurial collaboration by giving prospective business leaders the tools and education they need to succeed. Through the values of partnership, cooperation, CEOspace has been working to foster a new generation of enlightened business leaders around the world, and he uses his expertise to upgrade CEOs today in education, skilled leaders with highly global integrity standards. And I got to hang out with him while we've been having some technical difficulties. He has a great sense of humor. I got the chance to also do some research on you. Man, you work with so many powerful thought leaders out there, from the Tony Robbins, and your energy is just incredible. I think you like the CEO Tony Robbins connector type, if I can explain it. Les Brown, all packaged up in one. So welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The CEO, the founder and CEO of CEOspace International. Let's give it up for him, gentlemen. Give it up for him. Now, you're joining us from Florida, and I know you're originally from the Bay Area. How does one get from the Bay Area to Florida?
Well, you spend a lot of time. I ran one of the largest broker dealers, publicly traded all over the world for the first part of my life. And then I started this from Florida. I always wanted to live in Florida. And frankly, San Francisco Bay Area, I grew up in Silicon Valley. I coached Stephen Jobs and a lot of the Silicon Valley all-stars. And the problem, just lifestyle, the costs, the traffic, all of that. I love it. It's so beautiful. My brothers and sisters are all there. And, I visit and commute there all the time. But, it's just gasoline is $1.47 in Florida.
It is expensive out there. It is expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. So
now I know your dad. Because I was reading a little bit of your profile. Your dad was a corporate trainer. I feel like you got the cheat codes to life. You knew everything, the insides and outs. What are some great lessons that you learned from dad?
CEOspace is the #1 business conference in the world, 10 years in a row. We help you double your income and triple your time off. But it's not an event or an easy thing. We got to do a lot of work. Right now, we're helping you all put together pandemic prosperity plans, because there are 50 million of us off work this summer. We're over 30 now. We got 3 million a week coming out of jobs. And I'm saying, as we go into this, none of us have lived through that. That's bigger than 1929. So how are we going to get through this? What's going to happen for all of our businesses? You have to do some things differently when markets change. So my best-selling book was released in January. It's become the #1 bestseller this year in business. It's called Super Change. which you're in it. You're in the biggest
Yeah.
super change of your lifetime. So what are the tools? What are the skills you need? Get super change, give it to your best 10 customers. They'll repeat buy. They'll be retained. You won't lose them. You can't afford in the pandemic to lose a good customer once you got them. So how are you going to retain them? Acknowledge them. Give them a gift. You know, a book on tape is about $6. That's a pretty cheap gift.
Yeah.
Give them a book that'll light them up, and they'll refer back to you. They'll refer in pandemic. And then ask them, you know, say, did you enjoy the book? And I sure appreciate 2 or 3 referrals coming up, because we all got to help each other in pandemic.
Absolutely.
And every 10 people you
Absolutely.
do that with, they bring you 2 or 3 referrals. You got 30 new customers because you gave them a gift. And if not super change, figure the one you're going to use and give them some acknowledgement, give them some recognition, give them some way to take you into the special category where you're not treating them like they're just a number doing your normal business. You did something, you know, if you send them the book and you gift wrap it while you're watching a movie on Netflix, and then you send it to them with a Hallmark card and say, in pandemic, you know, you're not a customer, you're a member of our family, and your business with us means the world to our company. Those people are loyal. They're going to stay with you. You got to start doing that kind of difference, because we're in super change. So I don't want to give you the whole book, but there are a lot of tools in there like that.
Sounds like it.
Things
There
to
is.
do to help you, because all of us have to get a new plan. The old market, 2019, that isn't coming back. I'm an
Right.
investment banker economist. If you go to my blog, just as you see me on this broadcast, myname.com, pretty easy to find me, myname.com, and you've got my blog. And it tells you from the first of the pandemic right to now what's happening. It's called What's Really Going On Out There. And basically, you know, we're tired of being lied to.
Bernie,
Yeah.
is that the
Yeah.
name of the
Really,
is that the name of the
if these
blog?
guys would just tell us the truth, we'd sit up and listen. But all this, I don't need another tweet right now
Right. Right.
from
What were you
anybody.
saying, Michael?
I'm not taking political sides. I'm saying from anybody.
I was
Come on.
asking what was
Come
the
on,
name of the
leaders.
blog one more time?
Just myname.com.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so-
it gives you a lot of what is coming that's probably a little. One of my best friends says, I only read your blog once a week, and we call it in the family the suicide blog, because after you read it, you commit suicide. But it tells you economically what's coming, but it
Right.
also tells you what to do so it will not affect you.
Exactly.
There's only
Exactly.
two brains out there: those that are in denial, they think this is going to bounce right back, we're going back to normal, and those that really know what's happening, and they don't know what to do yet, but they know this is serious stuff. And so we're in a serious time, but you know, there's plenty of people making money, there's plenty of money, and there's plenty of economy. And also, because we're in 200 countries, if I have to be any place in pandemic, I don't care what you want to do complaining in election year about the United States of America, but this program is God and gospel on demand.
Come
Thank
on,
Oh,
God.
great.
Thank
Right.
come
God
on, come
we are
on,
Right.
in America.
come on.
Thank God
Right.
we're in America, you know?
Right. So Bernie, I have a
Awesome.
quick question, because I love fellow economic thinkers, because I'm an economist at heart too. And one thing I love about economic thinking minds is that we don't follow, we don't look at the news and the trends. We tend to look more at, we forecast ahead. And you're sure right when you say that right now people are making money in this economy, and I've seen that myself too.
Yep.
There's economies that are
Yep.
actually, and there's sub economies that are thriving too right now. So I mean, when with your company, what are you seeing, and then just give us a quick summary of what exactly is the CEO space, because I think for our listeners, we want to let them know exactly what type of company, and I know you're the founder of it, but what is CEO space?
What do we do? We
Yeah.
are the largest small business community in the world. So we help small business owners and professionals who own a practice. We only have one business. We accelerate yours. We're the #1 rank by Forbes, by Inc. magazine, by 22 press platforms for 10 years. We are the #1. Get your business growing faster. So we win in that category. Now, how we do business acceleration is we offer people lifetime memberships. And we have all sorts of price packages. We can start at $450 and work up. But most people end up with a lifetime membership, which means we have maybe 30 events like on Zoom that you can come to. Now, we just had a big Zoom event with a lot of people. What we did is in the first event, where we said hello to everybody, we broke you into breakout rooms of 5, and we did networking that's very specific. And then everyone that was helping you, say Clinton, they would, the 5 people there, they would give you see me shout outs on the chat room saying, see me, I have a contact. See me, I'm going to be your customer. So you're either getting customers or referrals to customers. And that's happening the whole time. We're breaking you out 70% of the time with us. You're networking like we used to do at hotels or BNI and all the networking groups. But our networking's ferocious. So we bring new clients, new customers, new joint venture partners, and then we break you into private rooms with mentors at my grade. Lisa Nichols, Les Brown. When you name these folks, they're all faculty members of CEOspace. We're the home that started Chicken Soup for the Soul. We're the home that started Rich Dad Poor Dad. We're the home that started Outwitting the Devil, so we get back to God. We're the home that started The Secret, and that was 1.5 billion in sales. And almost everybody in The Secret are my mentees and people I've coached and treasured as friends, Michael Beckworth and everyone for decades, So, I'm kind of the coach of the coaches. So when you name a Tony Robbins, I would mentor Tony, but Tony would mentor me. I mean, there's never a one-way street with a Tony. If I mentor Les mentors me, and we both help each other, and we have a teen program. All of Les's kids have grown up around CEOspace. And we love that. Lisa's child has gone through CEOspace and, the teen class. And so we love that as well. And so we're just kind of a family valued business organization that once you start with us, it never ends. You just have a new conveyor belt of customers that are coming into you. And if you do want to open up in other countries, because we're all over the world, anytime we have a meeting, we had Europe, we had Asia, we had Africa, we had South America. So you're always hooking up. So those people, our community, would help you get your product or your service in other places. But, if it's real estate in San Diego, you get listings you wouldn't normally get, and you get new buyers moving in who are presidents of companies who are going to buy a nicer place, and you get some good business with that. We do a lot of real estate.
Nice.
Now, speaking of secrets, it's almost as if you've been able to kind of get in what is normally seen as a very competitive market, people just to naturally connect, share, and just engage in connecting with each other to provide resources. What's your secret behind that? What's the secret sauce behind that? How do you get all these different?
Looking at it, it's over here on this little beautiful slide for the show.
Oh, God.
Our secret is God, starting in prayer and ending in prayer, and putting God in business, no matter what your background is. If you're a user taker and you're the top white shark in the feeding friendly, CEOspace is not for you. We're a place that wants to rewrite business. We think something's wrong in the world, not just America. And we need to take, God doesn't want immortal beings that are going to be with each other forever, competing like dogs. So what is heaven? Heaven is the absence of competitive thought form. There's no competitive thought form in heaven. And you're safe, and there's just unconditional love. The opposite is the absence of cooperation, trust, integrity, and collaboration. You don't have that in hell. And so if you know that, why would we create competitive hell on earth? Now, I know who has dominion at the end times, but if we're the elect, let's do business together with integrity, and let's do it in honor, and let's If we are helped by somebody, let's help them back God's way, and let's make a difference. And so we're, catering to all faiths, but we are faith-based, and we want to operate under correct principles. And I always tell people, CEOspace isn't like the gathering of the elect and we're all saints. It's more like the gathering of the elect, and it's a group that lies, cheats, and steals a whole lot less. May not seem like much, but boy, I'll tell you, you can find a group that lies, cheats, and steals a whole much less. Play in that group. And that's what CEOspace for 32 years is. We're in all 50 states. We do lots of free meetings in every city, and you can plug into our chapters anytime. You go to CEOspace International, we're in 200 countries.com, CEOspaceinternational.com, and choose in the video section who you study. If you study Les Brown, if you study Brian Tracy, or you study Tony Robbins, or you study Jack Canfield, or you study Bob Proctor, the star of The Secret, or Sharon Lechter of Rich Dad Poor Dad, or Greg Reed of Secret Knock and 3 Feet from Gold. Go to the superstars, they're all there, and pick one of the videos where they tell you about CEOspace.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So I have a question for you, Bernie, because you're really hitting on some things that when you talk about having God in your life, and you talk about owning a business, and you talk about making pretty good money, there seems to be a disconnect between my conversation with a lot of Christians is, the root of all evil is, or love of money is the root of all evil. And when you go into business and your goal is to make a lot of money, there's something inherently kind of bad and negative about that.
I think it is. Yeah, you're right. But here's the confusion. Our God is the most abundant there is. Our God has never filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy reorganization.
I don't think so.
Right now.
God wants his children to be abundant, but he wants all possession. In other words, we can use the money and do good things. The reason we start a business and the reason we try to build wealth, and here's the problem. So the devil made you do it. So you get into business and you're trying to make money, you're trying to make money, and your plan is very weak, and you're trying to struggle to make money, and at the end have a place that's paid for, have a second place in the mountains that's paid for, and have a retirement nest egg, and you're okay. Now that's a 97% failure rate. So millions that try that, and that's what they teach you in school. At the end, you're on a life table in Vegas, and you're paying on a 3% win table. Now, if they taught you in school, don't make an income plan to take care of your bills and help yourself. Make a wealth plan. A wealth plan is where your genius is so celebrated in the marketplace, and the way you're putting it out, it affects ever more numbers of people. As soon as you benefit more people than you can personally serve in a week, it's beyond what you can serve in a week, you're starting to build wealth and value to the company's resale because of how many you're serving for God. And when you put that to it, you have an 87% win table instead of a 3% failure table. So why do businesses not make it? They have weak plans, weak teams, and they lack resources. All they need is strong plans, strong teams, and resources. And usually that's one mentor. Show me your mentors and I'll show you your income. If you have better income, your income's going way up because your mentors are better. So give yourself the best mentors. And CEOspace gives you mentors you could never afford. And it changes your income and changes your life. Now, structurally, if you're doing it all for right, what our guy told the world is not that money was evil or that anything about money is bad. He did give us that eye of the needle and all of that to carry forward. But it's the attachment to money. It's grabbing that money and saying, this is my cigar. This isn't my cigar. This is God's cigar. And I'm so grateful I get to smoke it after I get through this show. But I say anything I have is from God, and I'm so grateful. I have the shirt, I have the shoes, I have the cigar. And when I'm out in the world, I want to give other people shoes and give them cigars. And if you hold that so why do you make more money? because you promise God to increase your tithing, and God will rain on you. He'll rain on you. But if you want to possess that money for yourself because you want a bigger flat screen than your neighbor, you're going to find God's not answering your prayers and you don't understand what's happening. And the reason is we didn't pray with, what do we have to pray with? Pure intention. We have to have our intention be right. We can't come from a selfish intention from the other guy and ask for heavenly blessings. We're going to get heavenly blessings when in humility we ask for the kindness, if it would please the Father, to bless usually someone else that we're praying for, that their health is better or their wealth is better. And we hope people are praying for us. You keep that attitude and you want your life to matter to more people, you'll have all the money you ever desired.
So is this why Bill Gates can't spend his money fast enough?
Make your life the biggest contribution to others. That's what business is about. Then just keep tweaking like you're playing a board game, your favorite game, of how to manufacture the display of your genius to the market so it's celebrated by the marketplace. It's celebrated by the marketplace. So
are you, one of the things you're saying is the reason why some people lack access to money is because they're spiritually not attached or involved with God as they should be? There's some type of spiritual disconnect?
Absolutely. You can test it out. I've seen people that aren't, good with God get lots of money, but you watch, they don't keep it. All sorts of tragedies happen in their life. I mean, they have divorces, they have deaths of children, they have all these things. And if you just watch, you can almost see the law at work. And God isn't doing things to us. God has laws. We do the things to ourselves by what our choices are. And, love each other, really help each other. We're in a crisis. This pandemic's real. Help each other, be in community, treasure your community, grow your community. What's the most important thing in business? Find a CEOspace or some other vehicle that will grow community consistently. How often do you need to grow your community? Every week. What's the cheapest, fastest way to grow community for a business? CEOspace. Now you found it, so check it out. And it's so much fun. Our next event is June 16th. If you came into it, we would find out what you're doing, very detailed. We'd have the best mentors work with you, and we would develop a pandemic prosperity plan for you. We would close gaps on your website, your funnel marketing, your pay-to-click advertising, your social strategies, your marketing, your brand messages. And you're doing it with real customers. So you're seeing, boy, I changed this, like the mentor told me, and I'm getting 7-to-1 in yeses. They're coming at me faster than I keep up. That's what happens in real time. And it's business owners helping business owners wherever it makes sense, all in integrity. Because in cooperation, spiritual beings will cooperate if you're in integrity. If you violate integrity, we put our shields up. And if someone comes at you in competition, you don't expect integrity because you expect them, because we've all learned this from little kids, that they live by the 11th commandment, that Moses was up there pounding and no one got. And it says, thou shalt screw unto others before thou art screwed unto. That isn't a commandment from God. Why the heck are we living like that?
And it's crazy that you mentioned that too. It's interesting that you mentioned that because
the Force's commandment, not our commandment.
That's true. That's true, because one of the things that and I like the fact that you created a space where you can include include integrity in building business, because in a capitalistic society, in a capitalistic system, what you'll find is a lot. Competition spurs growth, and competition spurs wealth. And it was built like that. But
I agree with that. Competition is a theory of how to organize humans in structural aspects, and it's proven to be very inefficient, very ineffective.
Right.
And also, not uniformly healthy for humans. In other words, some are at the top, the rest are at the bottom, and you're kind of in a suppression of,
Right.
you can't take you guys. You are all millennials. You can't take you guys and say, hey, now look, you took so many steps to the Coke machine back to your cubicle, and
Right.
we got to remove that. Your hanger is swinging at the lunch break. You don't even give notice. You're gone. And I'm saying they got to
Right.
acknowledge you. They've got to recognize you. Then you'll come
That's
in
true.
early, work harder, and outperform everybody. But I'm saying
Right.
it's a different model for how you guys want to see it work. And all the cooperative companies, we've influenced the largest companies in the world. So we've influenced organizational theory for Google, Facebook, Apple, but big companies like 3M and the leaders who have organized their whole culture in hundreds of divisions to be cooperative versus competitive on how they're recognized and moved. Every time that happens, they go up the fortune ladder, they get the highest rankings for excellence, because you cannot have a competitive company win in a cooperative company. A cooperative company doesn't compete. So a
Right.
competitive company is trying, now this is a bad model for capitalism. It's trying to make the most money in the least time for the elite inside shared stakeholders.
Right. And that's
Okay,
and that's that's and that's
a
and that's one of the
cooperative
things I wanted to
company,
point out.
a cooperative company is trying to make the most massive contribution to humanity, like Facebook,
Right.
while making a profit. Big
Exactly.
difference in direction. And,
Exactly.
20 years ago, when all you guys were being raised, you had $80 billion, which may seem like a lot, but I'm going to show you it's not. That was investing in, you know, uh, the new social investing, right? Social environment
Right.
and government, sustainable
Right.
environment and government, sustainable SEG investing, 80 billion. Right now, this year, it's 30 trillion.
Jesus.
And it's going
Wow.
to 100 trillion. The Ford company just took $800 billion and said it's all going into social investing. And I'm
Yeah.
saying it's going to cooperative companies, not competitive. It's going, and cooperative companies are the most massive contribution to the community while making a profit.
Profit.
It's a
Yeah.
different model for capitalism.
Yeah.
And that's what's rising up. And it's your generation that's had enough of this old, tired, we see all the movies
Bigot.
about it.
Bigot.
It just comes back to faith.
True.
I told you at the beginning of this, having marched with Martin Luther King back when I was 15
Right.
on Birmingham Bridge, I know a few things about civil rights. And I'm saying, as we go through that to today, you guys have got to build the new world that is coming, and you've got to
Hmm.
be an exciting part of it. And this show is an example. You're leading a cooperative basis of business. You're five-star generals in the cooperation movement. And if you want to get into how to organize your home life and your work life on cooperation principles, you get a book I believe is blessed by the Holy Spirit. It's been a sold out bestseller since it was released. Trump has it. Netanyahu has it in Israel. I mean, it's all over the leaders of the world. It's called Redemption, the Cooperation Revolution. Redemption, the Cooperation Revolution. Super Change, my bestseller this year. That's easy. That's a little book you love reading. Redemption is like a Bible. It's big and thick, and it takes a long time to read. And except for the Bible, it's probably the only other book that will read you while you read the book. It's going to read you.
Huh.
And he said redemption. What's the full
Cooperation
title?
Revolution.
Cooperation Revolution. And it'll create, when you apply what's in there, there's so many blueprints of what to do there, action to take. It is, it changes relationship, parenting. It creates switched on, turned on home space, switched on, turned on workspace. And it will bow you to put, your own version of how you want to look upstairs back in your life. So if that's
That's
been
awesome.
something, I think a lot of people have stepped back from God because they're spoiled because they have so much stuff. and they're looking at this competition that's so nasty, and they think, well, that can't be from God. And I'm saying, we are from God, and we're capable of making a mess down here. But lots of us drop back into God, and your life works, you get that. And so if we're going to have a very short time, we're like a cell phone, flash, like, boom, and you're out of your life. Your life is poof, poof, and you're gone. And I'm saying, in all the things you do while you're here, and I hope you smell enough roses, contribute to each other and have community that once in a while prays together. So, I mean, at CEOspace, we pray to start the business. We pray at the end that everybody's going to be successful, and we send the prayers out to each other. And that's the way we're supposed to be. And I believe that's very pleasing to upstairs. And then all sorts of things happen. And I want you to know, humans, are good and evil. And there's a playing board, and we're at war all the time with good and evil going around here. God isn't any of that. So get yourself off that. God's the third finger. When God comes down and gives you the finger, that's destiny. And he'll move all the good and evil to wherever he wants, and it'll be right where he wants it at the end. And no power is going to undo destiny from God Almighty. And so pray you're in your destiny. Your life is here for what purpose? To thrill you. We all have bad shit happen. You want to talk about bad shit that's happened? I'll give you my stories. And I'm saying whatever your worst day is, we'll compare it. My worst is, I'm grateful for every one of them, because my valleys built my new peaks. My valleys built my new peaks. Why? Because I didn't resist them. When I had that terrible thing happen, I said, Lord, what do you have to teach me now? I accept. I took that in joy and processed through how I could help others from it. How can I make my pain help others? No one's nailing big spikes in my hand. No one's putting a thorn crown coming out my eyes. I'm not suffering that much, and he gave all that up for our sins. That's one guy. You might be, looking at Muhammad or Allah or Buddhist or Hindu, but it's all the same principle. And all we have to do is love each other. And I keep in cooperation, there are two elements that are really important. What's the first element of divine cooperation? And the first is integrity. So we work on our integrity. That'll solve all the problems. We don't have a crisis of leadership. God, we got leaderships with credentials out the floor. It's the integrity of the leaders that has got us all upset, right?
Yeah, and we need
worldwide crisis of integrity. Yeah. Where's an inspired leader that has integrity? And say, oh, we've got them. Are you saying that who's running for the president of the United States is the best we can produce in this country? I mean,
I hope not.
Here's who ought to run the country, and I wish they would run the country.
Two evils.
For 4 years, I think we ought to have seniors in high school, half women, run the Congress. I think we do better than who we have now. Let the teenagers run it.
Benny, that would be some great super change right there. If you could teach the government how to do super change.
That would be a lot of change.
They would no longer spend money for nuclear bombs. Hundreds of thousands of nukes pointed at everybody, and 100 of them make us go extinct. 100. What species keep spending endless money instead of feeding the poor to build stuff that makes us go extinct?
Wow.
Kids won't do it.
All right.
Bernie, I have a question. First and foremost, thank you for taking the time tonight to be with us. I really appreciate everything you have said tonight. It has resonated with me in a way that I didn't even know was going to happen. But my question is this. For somebody who's, has so much empirical knowledge like you do with all this life experience, I mean, you're in this technology age, and then even what you were describing, walking with Martin Luther King, like that's so much time of just experience. What would you say to the young entrepreneurs of the future that we can take with us as we kind of embark on this journey, that, you know, if you had one parting thing to let us know that, like, you know, out of all my experience, this is one of the things that I has held true more than anything else, what would that be?
Well, I don't think there's a magic bullet. I think
Yeah.
the principles to guide you is we're
Yes.
going to an economic convergence. We haven't had since 1850. So 5G and other technologies are going to create an economy by themselves.
Yes.
We've the biggest growth period you ever imagined coming ahead of us after we get through this valley. You guys are going to have the greatest futures that any group has ever had worldwide. So here's the magic soup. One, you're going to spend your life like a river, and it can run out of water, or it can be flourishing in white water you can't imagine. Choose to do in your life what thrills you, and don't accept or tolerate anything less. Don't do things you tolerate. What are you tolerating that should be out of your life? And I say that to the adults. And then next, when you know what thrills you, make sure you own it. In other words, if you don't own it, don't do it. And it doesn't mean you all have to be entrepreneurs. If you're a supporter, which is half the population, get with companies where you can add value and own 5%, 10%, and it thrills you and you resonate with the CEO and help that venture go up. And now you're a supporter owner, and you have part of the wealth for spending your lifetime in something that thrills you. Otherwise, you're a little bit of a wage slave, just over broke. And I don't recommend that, because I marched on that bridge for your full partnership. And we've got Obama in the White House. And if you can dream it today, and you're Chinese or Filipino or you're black or any race, Obama told you, you can come from nothing in this one country and you can be up at the top in the White House. And so don't you forget the time we live in. Miracles are still happening in this place called America.
Yep. It's a work in progress. We still have changes to make, definitely.
We got a lot of work to do to make sure we have full partnership. I'm real big right now with women. I took my whole company at CEOspace in 2014, and I put all women in charge. Women ownership, women board, women running it. I resigned as president, CEO, had them run it while I was chairman of the board, and then put women in that slot. I want women, I preach full partnership for women, and now my company's leading all over the world with a woman-based company that's won all those press rankings for all those years from ladies leading, right? So I'm looking, I don't think women are getting full power in the legislatures and running for office. They're not getting full pay. And we still have a lot of work to do on, you know, the second attribute of cooperation is all diversity is celebrated instead of punished. You celebrate diversity instead of punishing it. Punishing it is kind of insanity, because the most important thing we have is the tapestry of us, our culture, our foods, our music, our dress. I don't need to be hood, having grown up with I was the only white guy in the project where I played until I was 17. I didn't have a white friend. And I'm saying, when you go through that, and you're doing that, I tell you guys, having lived in a special space in your movements, and with my life, spending a lot of time and money to help. George Fraser, many of you know, at his networking conference, that's the most successful we have overcome Black community in the world. Thousands of them that meet once a year.
FraserNet.
Partners and endorse FraserNet and his networking in business, because those are great meetings. But you know, he and I are on this wavelength at the same age. This work is not done. We need young voices like I'm seeing on this show, where the press is coming to you saying, what about this? What about that? We need to get those spokespersons out front to say, no way, that's, you know, we need full partnership. We can't have anything roll back. We've got to only move it forward. You stand on the shoulder of giants like Martin Luther King and others that went before you. Les Brown's another one. And we've got to continue that work. It's generational. And now we've got to have the leaders that we can turn the batons over to, that you take it to the next level of full partnership.
Now, what you got to do what thrills you, and I'm so glad you touched on that, because I think a lot of times people get into the mindset of, okay, I just have to go to school, get a job, and move forward in life. So, and make money to, support my house, and then also pay off my student loan debt that I just accumulated. That's how you live your life. So, how could you find that thing that thrills you, that walks you down that, or takes you down that river, that path, where you're going down the right way? Because I think
it's not easy. I'll tell you, the internet is,
yeah.
well, it's helpful in the internet. Basically, by the time you get into a certain age, you know a lot of things about that you love. And whatever you love, if you like a recreation or you like snowboarding, that could be a business. So anything you love can be a business. Then you learn everything about it. What did Napoleon Hill say in Think and Grow Rich? The most read book on how to think your way into wealth. He said, find out where trends are going. Find something that you love in that, be ahead of it, and then learn everything about it. Really pour yourself to be the expert in that, and then bring it to the market that they're all coming to anyway. And so today you've got what you see in digital and devices. You won't recognize your life in 2030. The changes that are going to happen in the next 9 years are beyond your imagining. No, everybody's going to be able to have a flying car come pick them up and take them to anywhere. You're going to have, Uber in the air. And
hey, you guys, let's start it. Let's start Uber in the air. Come on, let's do it.
Remember when you heard it first? Bernie said it first.
And it's where it's coming from: medicine, healthcare, recreation. It's just, we're going to have supersonic flight. We're going to have 3 hours to go anywhere. Just 3 hours, you'll be anywhere on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just, this is what's coming. I mean, it's that we're imploding into each other. And as one of the great quotes from my book that Obama said, Les Brown took it from the book and has used it on speech since the books came out. That's in Redemption. And it says, we must become a people in this world that turns into each other instead of turns on each other.
Mm.
Hey, quick question, guys, before we continue. I know it's about 8 o'clock. Are we going another 15 minutes?
Yeah, looks like we have another 20 minutes.
I can literally listen to Bernie talk all day long if he has the time.
And
I'm not even
bring
kidding.
that up.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I want to go back to Jarrell, who had earlier asked, tell me some stories about your childhood. When you're a little boy and you're 7, and coming over to the house is Napoleon Hill, and he's staying overnight, or Jack Kennedy, the president, or Walt Disney, to get with your father, who's one of the most famous mentors alive in the world, and you're mentored as the oldest son by all of these players. I'll tell you a story. I didn't know, because Dad was advising Martin, and I didn't really understand civil rights. I was in San Francisco. I was playing with black guys. We didn't have prejudice. We didn't know what it was. We were just all open there. I didn't know about the South. I didn't really understand it. And we didn't see a lot of movies and stuff. Dad was letting us see, we were with Disney. We were watching their stuff, Cinderella. And I mean, innocent stuff. I mean, on television, there's none of the stuff they have today. It was, because back then. So I'm saying,
Yeah.
So, all of a sudden I'm on a plane, I'm going to Birmingham, and I think this is way cool. We're all prepped, we're going to be singing. I'm several rows back of Martin, Dad's second row back, and he's up with Clark Clifford, who became Secretary of State, and there weren't very many white people. I'll tell you, I was in Atlanta, and the woman that did the casting for Savannah was with me, and she was going through the whole thing, and she had studied my background, and she pulled this file folder out that was all beaten up and dirty, and she brought out these pictures of the Birmingham March, and she showed the, pictures weren't high quality like today, and she goes, "Do I have it wrong, or is that your father?" And I said, "No, that's my dad." And he said, "Is that you? Because there's no other white kid in those first 5 rows." And I said, "No, that was me." I said, "Had my nose broken and went to juvie later and all of that." Because I never had somebody come in with batons and those Smokey Bear hats and beat you and to call you an end lover and all this stuff and screaming swear words at you. And, I'm 15 and a half years old. I didn't understand that. Dad's going off with he got beat up and I'm going to juvie and and I didn't know that was going to happen. I'm just singing "We'll Overcome" and walking across the bridge thinking it's a great day for the press. I didn't get what it is. And so after all that, with no explanation, Dad had shown his oldest son what the civil rights movement was. He wanted me in it. We're flying back. His arm's in a cast. My nose is broken. And he's turning to me saying, he calls me B, because that's what they call me in the family. He goes, "B, there's nothing the father can do when you start to come up to 16 where I put everything into you. At that point, you've got to start showing your young adult the world. And I am so proud of you today. You've made me the most proud I could be." And he said, you've known Martin Luther King saying grace at our table. But a man is born and his character is hardened by the steel of God on the day he stands up to do something right in the world, but it cost him. And you stood up, son, for your Uncle Martin, and you stood up when it cost you, and you were full blast standing up for it. And you didn't even know what you were getting into. But now you know. Now you understand what he's doing. Now you understand the South that you never saw. And you have to be the rest of your life involved in this work. And I went in full blast after that. But I, hadn't known before. That's when I became part of the civil rights movement back in the, 60s. And never left. But I mean, that's just one story. That's a true story.
Man, that's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
It's history.
So one thing I want to bring up too is you were talking about The Secret, which is when I found out about The Secret. I know it's not your book, but when you inspired a lot of people that's in that book, in that video. And I remember when I saw that video, I said, "What is this?" And I must have watched it like 4 or 5.
A nice lady had the idea for this thing, but didn't know how to put it together. And we got Bob Proctor involved. And I remember when Bob phoned me and he said, "She doesn't even have a financial model. She doesn't even have a 4-pay plan. She doesn't." And I said, "Well, here's how it's going to be done." And I got to know the director. At that time, he was 28 years old. And we came up with a plan to make the trailer so powerful, The Secret, what is it? What is it? What is it? That everybody would want to know. And so we launched it with CEOspace in 200 countries and it went viral. And then, Chicken Soup, which we launched on our stage, that did 500 million books and broke the Guinness Book of Records. Then Rich Dad, Poor Dad, raised its numbers to the same. Men Are From Mars, all these titles right there. But The Secret, we knew it was going to be big, but it went to 1.5 billion. That Guinness Book of Records, I don't think will break in my lifetime. That was, and I don't believe they could have ever got there without the people we put in and the teams.
Absolutely.
But she's she's a competitor. So her model is none of them, I own it, I did it, and it's me to a large degree. And I'm saying, and if she's listening to this, I say to her, you're never going to learn the secret till you phone Bob Proctor and apologize to him. That'll be your secret, honey.
Okay.
Wow.
We're telling the truth here today. Let's talk about
it. All right, Mr. Dohrmann.
It's so great. It's helped so many people.
Yeah.
Because those spiritual leaders really meant it and they really wanted to help people.
Yeah, the idea of, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it will achieve. That, I say it the right way?
Yeah, that's Napoleon Hill, exactly.
And
I love
basically
Napoleon Hill.
That's Think and Grow Rich right there.
Right. So,
Law of
so I
success.
guess it's the law of
It's the law of attraction comes
law
right
of
out of
attraction,
Think
right?
and Grow Rich. Yeah.
Right. So it's like whatever your mind thinks it, and Will Smith kind of said it like,
Remember, I grew up on Napoleon Hill's lap when he was 4 years old.
What was
I was
that
4 years
like?
old.
That is
He
he's
was
one of my
in my home until he died because he wanted to work with my father. He worked with my father's company in what was called Mind Dynamics for his life. My father founded the human potential industry. So he didn't just do corporate training. And he did all the big trainings. He did Life Spring, World seminars, Werner Erhardt's products, and all these. They were all like Werner Erhardt was in my home when I was 13. And he didn't have EST or Landmark Forum or any of that then. And we're still friends. He's in his 80s out of the country, but he's still teaching like crazy.
Nice.
I know, man. That is unbelievable. Man,
so,
it's
yeah.
like,
What was Napoleon Hill like? Off of Mike's question, because
yeah, that's because he's by far. I even, with my mentees, I talk about him all the time. He's one of the, for me, he's part of my big three. It's the Bible, the Big Book of AA, and then the Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill. And
He was very good. It's hard to explain. He was a very dignified man.
yeah,
So he always had this kind of character about him to be, but he had a real good sense of humor. And where you see the child in him is when he played with children. He was great with children, and he really did great jobs with children. But he was, trying to change the world and was very serious about what he was trying to do. But he would mentor anybody on the principles. So his principles, he was constantly trying to evolve, like Outwitting the Devil, the last book.
yes,
Right. That's an awesome book.
Yeah, that book is deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Outwitting the Devil is a book you read over and over and over again.
Yeah, I couldn't digest it the first time I read it. It was just way too much going on.
I read maybe 20 times, and I don't read Sharon's, because I knew Napoleon Hill, so I don't need Sharon's words.
Yeah.
She's explaining her feelings.
Yeah, the transposing. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I just read his words because I was there in a barbecue pit area where they would be, my dad and he would be at it forever. And I remembered, because he told his trust in his wife that could not be released till his wife died, because he thought it was too sensitive for religions.
Right.
Because he was trying to get religions to come together and stop fighting.
Yes.
And it still is. That people still are sensitive towards that type of topic, because it's kind of like he was way beyond his time, in his way, the way he thought. Yeah. The way he thought.
My dad and he, would be in what we call the lath house, little slats, and holding court there and waiting, to go to bed. And it was after dinner, and all the kids are playing. I'm just sitting there, and I'm listening to Dad and Napoleon Hill, one being the devil, one asking the questions, and going back and forth by the hour. I have no idea that's a book.
Wow.
That sounds like a movie right there, a mini series on just making that book and having that conversation right there.
Well, then, it was later, and they were expecting me as being older, because when that first happened, it was in the 60s, but in the 70s, it happened again, and I was older, and then I really could ask questions and get into it. But he would tell me what they were doing to get consciousness up in this area, and he talked about drifters and all that. But the issue gets to be, as he was doing it with Dad, he was explaining principles to me and telling me that your life work would never get old. He said, as you do the things you want to do to carry on your father's work and change consciousness worldwide, the devil will attack you in ways you can't imagine. So you have to outwit that devil and make sure you do. And I've used that conversation before I got the book. When I first read that book, I got the first copy. So the first copy they released from Don Green's a dear friend at the Napoleon Hill Foundation, but Sharon's even closer to me as a personal friend, and she made sure I got that book. And it was, they released it at CEOspace because it's good luck for book publishing. And she, when I first read that, I was crying Because I said at the end when I closed it, I said, I call him Uncle Nappy, but I said, Uncle Nappy, you saved the best for last. I thought this was what completed Think and Grow Rich.
Hmm.
You know, it's like shifting in first gear with Think and Grow Rich, but without Outwitting the Devil, you went to drive.
Right, true. That's very true.
So Bernie, we have about 3 minutes left on our show. We want to again thank you for coming on, because you have hit on some topics, and like Mike, I could have literally been quiet.
Let me give you a final message. We have a nasty, terrible. They're going to spend $2 billion instead of on you guys on the election. And what I want you to do is pray for the leaders of the world. Pay for all the leaders and realize they're all doing the best they know how. Nobody's trying to screw anybody. Nobody's trying to hurt anybody. They're all trying to do the best they know how in crisis. Have legitimate intellectual disagreements with policies and vote without hatred, without personal. Don't let the media and everything start making it personal. Get rid of all that stuff and just take it like, these are the policies I want. I'm going to vote that way. And we'll bring respect back to our country. We'll bring what we need back to our country. I trust the voters of America. I trust the people of this country. And America's going to be fine. And it doesn't matter who's president, because this country is greater than any president. And we'll go beyond them all. And we'll have good ones, and we'll have great ones, and we'll have some that are mediocre. And they're all doing the best they can. So worldwide, whether it's London, and everybody's in challenge, China, everywhere, they're all doing the best they know how. Pray for the leaders of the world to come out of this, for 7 billion of the people of the world. And pray that God gives them the wisdom and the strength to bring safety and prosperity and abundance and security and food, shelter, and peace to all of the unborn generation of this planet.
Yes.
Thank
Amen
you
to
so
that.
much, Bernie.
Nice, thank you.
You have hit right
Bernie,
on
where
the
can I
head.
get the book? Super
It's
chat.
everywhere.
Just
I already. He's slow. I already tagged it into the message feed.
Okay. All right.
You'll like it. You'll get a lot of value out of it.
Get yourself together, Terrell.
And Bernie,
Right.
this
I think
is
the second half of the year is going to be getting back to work. Let's go make money.
Yes, and
Yes.
this is an awesome platform for our listeners, because at the same time too, we need more spaces like this, especially in our community, where we can actually give back and have people learn from other people in terms of diversity of how they are actually making it, or actually getting a leg up, So thank you for coming on and talking to us and
Thank you.
giving us your
For
story.
all of you. And I want you to have a great summer. Keep June 16th on your mind, because that's our next event. All right?
Roger that, sir. We'll
Thank you,
do.
Bernie.
Thank you, Bernie.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're listening to Let's Talk About It. We'll see you next week. Peace.